Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that comes out in the Times Herald. And the Bay Area African American students are in a terrible situation when it comes down to education. They are far behind and struggling, and the parents are very upset, and they want immediate changes to their Black children's education. Ladies and gentlemen, the root cause of our children not being able to achieve is the face of that teacher that's standing in front of them in class. And that has always been the problem from the start. Unfortunately, many of our people just don't see the light. You're letting a teacher evaluate your students, grade your students, and they know damn well they're miseducating them. They're confusing them, and they're making the assignment so complex they know these students can't follow it. This is a deliberate act being done on our students. And I can tell you, I can think as far back when I was a child growing up in the city of Philadelphia, my class was all Black, but my teacher wasn't Black. And I always used to find that to be odd. We would walk through the school building, and class after class, you would just see a bunch of white female teachers, white female teachers, white female teachers, bunch of Black kids, bunch of Black kids. It never looked right. And it didn't feel right. I knew something was wrong, but I could not put my finger on it at that particular time because I was too young. But I knew something was definitely wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bay Area parents declare state of emergency over district failure to educate Black children. Fed up with a growing achievement gap between African American students and all others in a San Francisco Bay Area school district, a group of parents is declaring an educational state of an emergency and demanding improvement. For years now, the district has not seen or served African American/Black kids, said Goldie Williams, whose daughter attend El Cerrito High School in West Contra Costa Unified. That all changes tonight. There is no more time for consideration. The time is now. It's time they see us, the parents who are members of the district African American Site Advisory Team, presented their demands Wednesday night to a meeting of the district school board. The board unanimously approved a resolution presented by the group, and agreed to implement all of its recommendations next year, which are expected to cost up to $7 million by shifting money the district is currently spending on student programs to services that will better serve African American students. Now, I'm glad they're doing this, but let me tell you what the problem is in this whole thing. I'm glad they are stepping up and trying to supply what these kids need. But I'm telling you, it's all going to be counterproductive if you don't start changing the faces of these teachers in the classroom. I'm just telling you, it's going to be for naught if you're going to keep the same teachers, but you're going to step up the programs and the kind of subjects that your kids get. Get the faces of those teachers out of your classroom and start replacing them with the faces that the students are familiar with. All right. So, of course, there's someone by the name of Tony Wold that is opposing this whole thing because he said the school district already has a deficit of $48 million. But they are going to move forward with this whole thing anyway. according to the article. The district has stated that it is a priority to address education gaps with African American students, Williams said. From a moral standpoint, this is what's needed. This is a crisis. She is co chair of the group, which demanded that West Contra Costa Unified improved its services for African American students in the district that includes Richmond and surrounding communities. Data shows the achievement gap between African American students and others is growing in the district, where only about 20% of African American students met or exceeded English standards on statewide tests last year, and a mere 10% met math standards. In contrast, about 61% of white students met the English standards, and half met the math standards. And that's because white students are going to have a teacher that looks just like them. That's the difference. That is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. The Black students are looking at teachers that don't look anything like them. The white students are looking at teachers that look like them. It makes a huge difference. In both subject areas, African American student achievement has dropped over the past 5 years, while white student achievement has improved. In 2015, 21% of African American students met or exceeded English standards, compared to 57% of white students, and 11% of African American students met or exceeded the math standards, compared to 48% of white students. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, they do this on purpose. Our kids are being sabotaged in these schools. They are being taught lies. And the only reason why I had caught on to that, ladies and gentlemen, because I noticed there were huge differences in what I was being taught in school by these teachers. And when I would get books from the library and I would start reading them on history and on, social studies and on different subject matters, and it would far differ from what I was being told in class. And that's how I realized these teachers are standing here lying to us. And it's a lot of lies, y'all. I'm not talking about, they're fudging information here and there. It's a lot of lies, a lot. And I had to realize that. So if there are achievement gaps, that's why, sabotaging goes on in all industries against us. Think about that. We're sabotaged in school, we're sabotaged on jobs, we're sabotaged everywhere we go. So I think when our kids are in school and their minds are being molded, this is where you have to make sure they're getting that right education. Now, I know people work and you have jobs, but that does not mean you can't keep up with what's going on with your children. You still should know. Okay, if we don't change the expectations for the students from the teachers, the administrators, the parents, from everyone, nothing's going to change, Williams said. The expectation has to be that this is unacceptable. And I agree with her. But again, you're not talking about changing these teachers. So I'm just a little concerned about them putting out $7.2 million and you're keeping the same sabotagers in place. I'm just saying. All right, I just want to go down to what the governor said here. the plight of African American students lagging behind their peers statewide is also on Governor Gavin Newsom's radar when he released his proposed 2020-21 budget last week. Newsom emphasized the fact that the achievement gap for African Americans and for students with disabilities is not closing statewide. Okay, again, who are the educators of these students in the classroom? Who are the educators? I mean, you mean to tell me our kids are spending hours around these people and they are learning nothing? That should bother every parent. Is anybody monitoring what these teachers are doing in the classroom? You know? Mm. Ooh, you're lucky I'm not in charge. Ooh, you're lucky. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad the parents are getting involved, and I hope they keep a close watch when they start implementing programs for their children, that they keep up with what these teachers are doing in the classroom. All right? Because I'm telling you, the root cause is that teacher in the classroom with your child for hours. That's the root cause of your problem. And if you're overlooking that, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to do anything. You might get a little bump, but it's not going to be what you think. You looking to improve things for your kids, and that teacher is looking to keep everything nice and sabotaged. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. I think it's sad to see our children struggling. I don't believe these schools are the right environment for them. They deserve so much better. They're up against so many things with teachers moaning about their hair and clothing and every little petty thing they can think of to find on these children and complain. Once you start doing something like that, how much can a child sit there and focus and learn? They can't. They can't. And I would see the difference, and especially when I start going to an integrated school, there are very obvious difference in how white students are treated in classrooms and how black kids are treated in classrooms. I saw it with my own two eyes. It ain't no, oh, I treat everybody the same. No, you don't. No, you don't. You may say those things, and those things may sound all good and fuzzy, but I'm telling you, every person that I've ever heard say those kind of things in my lifetime, they never treated everybody the same. They're full of shit. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.